Hi there. So far in this series, we've talked about 4 congruency theorems for triangles. And the last one we did was this angle side. Today we're getting into hypotenuse leg. And let me show you why it works. I got right angles. I have a leg, and a hypotenuse, and a hypotenuse. The question is, does it force the third side to be the same leg? So it goes from here to here. And it does. So if you have one leg that's congruent to another leg, and you have a hypotenuse that's congruent to the other hypotenuse, this works. It's called the hypotenuse leg. Very specific to right triangles, though. All right, let's look at some examples. These two triangles are congruent by hypotenuse leg. You have two legs that are congruent, and the hypotenuses, hypotenuse, I don't know what the plural of that is for sure. It crossed from the right angles. Those guys are congruent too, so you have a hypotenuse leg. Here's another pair that are congruent. We've got the hypotenuses. We have that as congruent, but we also have that shared leg, that shared side in the middle, so we can use it here. Here's the one that doesn't work. Take a look at it. There's no information about sides. We've got the right angles, which is cool, and the other angles are congruent, but there's no information about the sides. It's very possible that this situation is one where one triangle is bigger than the other one and all the angles match, but the sides would be longer. If we want these two triangles to be congruent by hypotenuse leg, what other information do they need to give us? Well, one thing they don't have to tell us is that this is a right angle. It's vertical angles, that's a definition, so you can just use it. We've got the hypotenuse sides marked as congruent for both. So what we really need is a pair of legs. That sounded weird when I said it. All right, I either need Q and R to be congruent to LR, but you could also use this answer and go for those legs and say that PR is congruent to MR. So 2 answers for this one. A couple things you don't need to be told, but if you do proofs, you might have to write them in, but that doesn't mean it has to be in the given information. And one of those is that this is a right angle right here. They are a linear pair. They're going to add up to 180 and the other side's 90. This has to be 90. And you have a shared side. We use reflexive property in proofs when that happens. So what we really need to know are the hypotenuse, because we've already got the leg. So they should have told us that WU is congruent to VU. Given that angle BCD and FED are right angles, BD is congruent to FD, and D is the midpoint of CE, prove that BCD and triangle FED are congruent. Make sure you mark up your diagrams first. All right, BCD and FED are right angles, so let's mark those. BD is congruent to FD. Mark those up, and we've got D is the midpoint of CE. Midpoint is right here, D. Splits that in half, so we know that this side is congruent to that side. And we know we're going to use hypotenuse leg for this proof. So we got angle C and angle E are right angles. We know that because that was given. Angle C is congruent to angle E. Now I'm questioning why I thought I needed to put that in there. I don't think I need this line, but it's not wrong. All right angles are congruent. BD is congruent to FD. That was given. That is your hypotenuse right here, these guys. D is the midpoint of CE. That was given information, and now I can use it. I can say that CD is congruent to ED by definition of midpoint. Can't use it unless it's in the proof before this spot. That is our leg. So now we have hypotenuse leg, and we can say that the triangles, they are congruent by the hypotenuse leg congruence theorem. Now, we have to keep going here because there's a situation we have to discuss, and that is, what's the difference between hypotenuse leg, which you see up here on the top, and on the bottom where you have angle side side? It seems like those would be the same thing, right? But the top one works and the bottom one doesn't. These are right angles. That is what makes this work. That right angle forces that third side to be congruent. I showed you that when I used the patty paper. With these guys, and they're not 90 degrees, this is not going to work. If you see angle, side, side, let me show you why. Does not work. All right, I'm going to do a little demonstration here, but right now I'm starting out with a triangle that has a 34-degree angle, a side that's 11 centimeters, and another side that's 11 centimeters. The third side is 4 centimeters. I'm going to lock in the 34, the 11, and the 8, but I'm going to play with this, moving that point C, and show you I'm going to get a second triangle. Watch. Look, there it is. Using the 34 degrees in that corner, the 11 and the 8 sides in order, I get angle, side, side, but I end up with two different triangles that are not the same shape, so they are not congruent. And the reason is that BC, that third side, is not the same length, and these angles up at A were not locked. The angle down at C was not locked. So I was able to do this. You can't use angle side side in a proof. You're going to have to use one of the other congruency theorems, which is one of these. Well, we just finished hypotenuse leg. These are the 5 theorems that we use. We actually use the first 4 the most, but we did learn you can't use this one. And that's easy to remember because you just spell it backwards. The next 2 videos coming, one is going to be about things you're going to need to know in order to be able to complete proofs, and you'll use them in all different kinds of proofs. And then we're going to do a proofs palooza. I'm just going to throw them at you. And I also need to talk about something called CPCTC. If you don't know what that is, I'm going to be telling you in this next video. Click into it. Oh, and share these videos, would you please? Helps me out a ton. Thank you. Bye.